Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is D Train one more time. I didn't mean to do a response video, but this one was almost a clinic, so I wanted to do the narration on this thing here because it's not a it's not a pure response video, but I swear I have some of the same responses every time. So it actually allowed me to go back and do some research on a few people, and just not too much to where I know something, but enough to be like, wow, okay, that's that guy and that's who that is over there. So without any further ado, I'm gonna try to keep this this pointer going because that seems to be the trick here. So President is Trump right there.
NATO's greatest strength is the enduring bond between North America and Europe. We saw the strength of that bond after the 9/11 attacks against the United States.
So they setting it
and
up.
President Trump, those attacks struck at the heart of your own hometown in New York. And for the first time, NATO invoked our collective defense clause, Article 5. One for all and all for one. Hundreds of thousands of European and Canadian soldiers have served shoulder to shoulder with US troops in Afghanistan for over a decade, to help ensure it never again becomes a safe haven for international terrorists. It is our solidarity that keeps our nations safe.
Intro.
And when our open and free societies come under attack, we stand up for our values and our way of life. That is why a strong NATO is good for Europe and good for North America.
Oh, yeah, I like this guy.
The 9/11 and Article 5 memorial will be a daily reminder of our vital bond. And today we will commit to do more in our common struggle against terrorism.
It's part of the world trade.
So, Mr. President, it is a great honor to have you here and a great honor to give you the floor. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice firm handshake. I saw this meme.
Thank you very much, Secretary General Stoltenberg, Chancellor Merkel. Thank you very much. Other heads of state and government, I'm honored to be here with members of an alliance that has promoted safety and peace across the world.
Everybody else.
Prime Minister May, all of the nations here today grieve with you and stand with you. I would like to ask that we now observe a moment of silence for the victims and families of the savage attack which took place in Manchester.
It's a clinic. He took control of the audience. He's got them bowing or being quiet and focusing. They can't do nothing. Good stuff, good stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Terrible thing. This ceremony is a day for both remembrance and resolve. We remember and mourn those nearly 3,000 innocent people who were brutally murdered by terrorists on September 11th, 2001. Our NATO allies responded swiftly and decisively, invoking for the first time in its history the Article 5 collective defense commitments. The recent attack
it's a touchy subject now, too.
On Manchester in the United Kingdom demonstrates the depths of the evil we face with terrorism. Innocent little girls and so many others were horribly murdered and badly injured while attending a concert, Beautiful Lives, with so much great potential torn from their families forever and ever.
You can't disagree with that.
It was a barbaric and vicious attack upon our civilization. All people who cherish life must unite in finding, exposing, and removing these killers and extremists. And yes, losers. They are losers. Wherever they exist in our societies,
Yes, they are.
we must drive them out and never, ever let them back in. This call for driving out terrorism is a message I took to a historic gathering of Arab and Muslim leaders across the region, hosted by Saudi Arabia.
He said, I'm consistent.
There I spent much time with King Solomon, a wise man who wants to see things get much better rapidly. The leaders of the Middle East have agreed at this unprecedented meeting
They're not taking them in
to
Saudi
stop
Arabia.
funding the radical ideology that leads to this horrible terrorism all over the globe. My travels and meetings have given me renewed hope that nations of many faiths can unite to defeat terrorism, a common threat to all of humanity. Terrorism must be stopped in its tracks, or the horror you saw in Manchester and so many other places will continue forever. You have thousands and thousands of people pouring into our various countries and spreading throughout. And in many cases, we have no idea who they are. We must be tough, we must be strong, and we must be vigilant. The NATO of the future must include a great focus on terrorism and immigration, as well as threats from Russia and on NATO's eastern and southern borders. These grave security concerns are the same reason that I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations. But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying
23 out of 28.
and what they're supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves.
Like, look at this motherfucker.
We should recognize that with these chronic underpayments and growing threats, even 2% of GDP is insufficient to close the gaps in modernizing, readiness, and the size of forces. We have to make up for the many years lost. 2% is the bare minimum for confronting
so that's Macron.
Today's very real
this guy right here, I looked him
and
up.
very vicious
It
threats.
took me an hour.
If NATO countries made their full and complete contributions, then NATO would be even stronger than it is today, especially from the threat of terrorism. I want to extend my appreciation to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum in New York for contributing this remnant of the North Tower, as well as to Chancellor Merkel and the German people for donating this portion of the Berlin Wall.
Merkel.
It is truly fitting that these two artifacts now reside here so close together at the new NATO headquarters. And I never asked once what the new NATO headquarters cost. I refuse to do that.
Uh-oh.
But it is beautiful.
Okay, so he's getting them back
Each
now.
one marks a pivotal event in the history of...
Okay, so that was... Did you see? Okay, so he started out, he was like, okay, look, we got a problem, okay? We got a problem with terrorism. They blowing up our girls, our family members, or whatever. And everybody was like, ah, man, it's a touchy subject, right? You know, but you can't really disagree because it's happening. It's on the news, right? Then he goes a little bit farther and it said, look, y'all, some of y'all, most of y'all, 23 out of 28, you're not paying your fair share, right? So he's like, he's going in. Homeboy, I looked him up. His name was Xavier Bettel of Luxembourg. Okay. That's the guy who was like the crossing of the arms. I didn't get, I gotta get that other video because it showed all that. But he was, he looked like he was heated. I don't know. Maybe it was an act. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying he was somewhat, can I say, demonstrative a little bit. Openly gay. Luxembourg is about the size of Rhode Island. Wow. Okay. World's highest GDP per capita, $100,000 per head. Economy's 58 to 60 billion. It's landlocked. Anyway, it used to be steel, but now it's like one of the big finance hubs in Europe. Actually, it's only like second or third behind like Switzerland and I can't think of it right now. But it used to be steel. Now it's in finance, so they got a lot of money floating around in there. It's probably like second or third to like, the Swiss bank accounts you keep hearing about. So anyway, that's who that guy was, who was like, this motherfucker right here. Anyway, back to the thing here. But now he softened him back up with a joke. He's, because he's in building, and he says, wow, this costs some money. So like, is this where the money went? You know what I mean? So anyway, is this what we paid for? Is this what the American dollar paid for right here? It looks beautiful. I mean, hey, I even gave you a piece of the building. You know what I mean? But let's keep it going because it's a 12-minute video. I got about 3 more minutes.
This alliance and in the eternal battle between
got him smiling.
Good and evil. On one side, a testament to the triumph of our ideals over a totalitarian communist ideology bent on the oppression of millions and millions of people. On the other, a painful reminder of the barbaric evil that still exists in the world and that we must confront and defeat together as a group, as a world. This twisted mass of metal reminds us not only of what we have lost, but also what forever endures, the courage of our people, the strength of our resolve, and the commitments that bind us together as one. We will never forget the lives that were lost. We will never forsake the friends who stood by our side. And we will never waver in our determination to defeat terrorism and to achieve lasting security, prosperity, and peace. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This was interesting too, though. He went over there, stood right next to homeboy who was like giving up right here, Luxembourg, handshake to Merkel. It's like, yo, I'm gonna hang out next to my homeboy. Oh man. Oh man, that was awesome. Hey, you know what? He's not afraid. There's Macron right here. They got the looks like the power brokers really in the front. But they even had a clip where it looked like Donald Trump was like, "Yo, man, get back here." I'm supposed to be in the front, dog. You know who I am? DJT, buddy. Partner. So, that's that. I just wanted to end this off on an excellent note here.
We will rebuild the roads, the bridges, the infrastructure, the tunnels, the airports in your communities, and we will rebuild it with our companies, with our steel, and with our labor.
All right, watch this. He's doing the his lap. He's getting the support. He's feeling it, baby. Now drop the boom.
Hillary Clinton is a bigot
Kapow!
who sees people of color